a lot of time. All right, so we'll have to manage accordingly. Acha. Up for the convenience of every student in this class, we are starting paper one again. We are starting question number one and question number two again from scratch. And this is a complete comprehensive workbook of sorts that will help you, inshallah, master this fully. All right. So whether you have an idea of question one or question two, if you don't, that's fine. We'll go through all of it again. Yes, if you do have questions in between, you have the chat box. You guys know that, right? You always have that option, and you can always unmute yourself as well, and you can ask. Okay, mere bachcho? All right, let's start. So, in this workbook, you will obviously be able to understand not just question one in its entirety, but also question number two, which in layman terms we call use of language questions, or also a minor understanding of writer's effect. Writer's effect simply means why is the writer using a certain word and what effect is being created in the reader's mind by the use of that particular word by the writer. So simple ये मतलब होता है कि राइटर ने एक ये वर्ड क्यों यूज किया, राइटर कोई और वर्ड भी तो यूज कर सकता था. So if that particular word has been used, to what extent? All right? Why? What's the why behind it? Okay, मेरे बच्चों? Do we understand so far? Anyone has any questions to ask me before we formally start off? Okay, I am guessing there's none then. Acha, as you guys can see this, question number one is a 16 marker. Question number two is a 9 marker. For the convenience of those students who have no idea about this, we get two major comprehension questions in paper one. Question number one, total, is a 16 mark question. And question two, total, is a 9 marker. Okay? When I say total, because the question is divided into subparts A, B, C, D, E. The lowest mark for each question is 1 mark and the highest is 3 mark. So you get questions ranging from 1 mark, 2 mark and 3 mark. Not more than that. Alright? Do we follow? Challenge. Let's move on. Now, how do we master this particular workbook and how do we master question 1 and 2? Obviously, we get to know paper 1. We'll kind of go through it unless you guys have specific questions to ask. Unless you have those, or if not, we will be moving through these quickly, okay? Then we need to have a solid understanding of command words. I keep repeating this over and over again because when it comes to your question 1 and question 2, paper 1, O levels English language, unless you understand command words, comprehension part of the paper is always going to be an issue. How many of you fully understand and have fully grasped the understanding of command words? Like you have understood this enough to explain it to someone else. Do I have someone in class like that? Zuna has. Okay. Anyone else who can say, who can claim, yes, I have understood command words entirely, kinda, okay, Vanya, good enough? Chalo, alright. For the convenience of everyone else, command words are those words that we find at the beginning of each statement of the question. Alright? Because these are those statements, these are those words which we find at the beginning, they tell us what the question is about. What the question is demanding of us, or इस question को solve कैसे करना है. So let's suppose if the command word is explain versus the command word is give, both of them have different jobs and both of them need to be tackled differently. We can only understand such questions if we understand command words. And because in this case Cambridge is very much about this, so Cambridge has given us a list of command words that we need to have a good idea about to tackle different kinds of questions that come up in question 1 and question 2. Are we understood, bacho? Good to go so far? Okay. Let's move on. I hope I'm not going too fast. Yeah, boys? Okay. Alright, good enough. Now, getting to know paper 1 is pretty easy. Let's just quickly go through this. Paper 1 is obviously the first paper that we need to tackle when it comes to O levels English language. It has 2 texts that we need to tackle. The entire paper is of 2 hours, which is, I believe, more than enough time. The paper itself is going to be of 50 marks, so that's pretty simple to, get the hang of. There are 2 texts. It only mentions text A because text A is related to question 1 and question 2. And because we are not doing question 3 at the moment, that is why we will not be tackling text B at this point, okay? So we only need to tackle text A because text A से ही निकलते हैं question 1B or question 2B. All right? Good to go? So this is roughly around 900 words, and pertaining to this text, you answer questions 1 and 2. What are exactly questions 1 and 2 about? So when it comes to question number 1, this is basically a series of sub-questions amounting to 16 marks in total. They will test your understanding of explicit and implicit meanings and attitudes. So you will get different nature of questions in question number 1. So means there are parts and big questions also. Mera beta, the biggest question that you will get in question 1 is going to be a 3 marker. And the smallest one that you will get is going to be a 1 marker. Not more than that. Alright? If that answers your question, Aisha? Jitne bhi parts honge, they're either going to be a 1 marker, a 2 marker or a 3 marker. Not more than that. Koi 4 marker question nahi hoga, koi 5 mark ka nahi hoga, koi 6 mark ka nahi hoga, so on. Okay? Good to go? Have you understood this? Chalo. Yes, question 1. By the way, question 2 is the same as well. The only difference is the kind of questions that we come across, the kind of statements that we come across in both these questions. सिर्फ उनमें difference है. But when it comes to the mark allocation, in question 1 and 2 both, you get questions amounting to either 1 marks, 2 marks and 3 marks. That's it. Are we understood? समझ आ गया? सबको समझ आ गया? Boys and girls, all of you? ठीक है. Understand कि कोई भी सब पार्ट 3 मार्क्स से ज्यादा नहीं का होगा. Okay? Alright, as you guys can see this, in question 1 and 2, the document very clearly tells you that the series of sub-questions is going to be, in question 1 it's going to be a 16 marker in total, but obviously you're going to have sub-parts. Similarly, the same goes for question 2, you're going to have sub-parts, and these sub-parts are going to test you on your understanding of how writer uses language to achieve effects and influence the reader. This is the important part, and this is where, in my understanding of doing things, students get stuck. Probably you guys are an exception, probably not, but we will be tackling it no matter. All right? Now, these are some of the kind of questions, the nature of questions that you come across. Okay? Overall, you come across explicit meaning, you come across implicit meaning, you come across attitude questions, you come across effect questions, impression questions, and suggestion. Okay? So you guys need to understand each one of them in their entirety to get the hang of the different kinds of questions that can come up. Because all through our junior school till middle school, we have been taught that we will be given a passage. With that passage, we are given certain questions. That's it. We need to solve them, and that's how we tackle comprehensions. And this is exactly why we end up losing marks when it comes to O-levels as well, or IGCSE for that matter, because हमें ये समझ में नहीं आता कि different nature of questions demand a different kind of understanding and a different kind of way that they need to be answered. But are we following so far? Boys as well, Hasnain Muhammad? Are we good? Okay, so explicit meaning is pretty simple information which is stated directly on the page. If the text says the bus was late, the bus was late. You find it, you do not work it out. I cannot stress on this enough. Explicit is something that we tackle in everyday life. I ask you, Hasnain, what is your age? You tell me I am 13, I am 14, voila, that's it. I'm not figuring anything out. Hasnain is not figuring anything out. Simple question, simple answer, that's it. Nothing needs to be figured out, okay? Implicit. Information the writer suggests without directly stating it. This is something that needs to be figured out, by the way. So if a character keeps glancing at the clock and tapping her foot, the text implies impatience without using the word. Let's suppose I keep fidgeting with my fingers like this. You are talking to me and I keep doing this, like this. I'm looking in my lap and I keep doing this. What do you think this might mean, guys? What impression does it give you? I keep looking in my lap and I keep doing this, like this. I keep playing with my fingers, doing like this, something like this. Nervousness, that's right. है ना? And देखो, how easily were you guys able to get to that conclusion? Because it's that simple. Through actions, we understand what is being implied, right? कहना क्या चाह रहा है अगला? What is the other person trying to tell us? So that is what we mean by implicit understanding. Good to go? We figure it out, we work it out, but we do not get the answer directly. If you're looking for a direct answer to an implicit question, you will end up losing marks. Okay? Now, we have attitude questions. How a character or the writer feels about something over time. Admiration, resentment, suspicion, pride. So an attitude is broader and steadier than a momentary feeling. So it's not a temporary feeling, it's something that develops over time. And we get attitude questions as well. So again, once we get to the questions, you'll be able to understand this better. We have effect questions next. Effect के ऊपर तो पूरा question 2 based है. So what a word or phrase does to the reader. The picture it paints, the mood it builds, the reaction it provokes. Effect is about impact, not just meaning. I cannot stress on this enough because writers do not just use simple vocabulary or simple words. They use words that create some sort of an effect or that have a sort of impact on our reader, in the mind of our reader, and the way the reader perceives a certain meaning. Does that make sense, guys? Let's suppose if I say, you all have been to an amusement park in your life, right? If you are from Lahore, you have been to Joyland, right? If you are from Karachi, you've probably been to Behria Adventure Park, right? बहरिया नहीं भी गए तो पूरे कराची में इतने सारे पार्क्स हैं, एडवेंचर पार्क्स हैं, amusement parks हैं. There's, I remember when I was young in Karachi, I used to go to Hill Park. And then there used to be another one which was called Aladdin or Aladdin as we might pronounce it properly. I know it's not that famous anymore, but Karachi walon ko pata hoga, right? Muqaddas, do you know of any as well? Chunky Monkey, yes, Chunky Monkey we have in Lahore as well. It's a smaller one, but yes, good to go. Yes, Muqaddas. So we've all been to amusement parks, right? And as kids, we've all been, absolutely obsessed with the idea of an amusement park, going to an amusement park. You're from Islamabad. Okay, you have. Okay, Aisha. I did not know that, beta. I'm so sorry. But Islamabad has its fair share of amusement parks as well. So probably you've been to some in Islamabad, right? I remember I went to one when I was in Islamabad. I've forgotten its name though. I think it was in Pindi. Anyway, so हम सभी गए हुए हैं at some point, बड़ा या छोटा. Maybe if you've been abroad as well, you might have even gone to Disneyland, right? So I would say, for me, Joyland or Hill Park or Behriya Adventureland, they are magical places. I'm using the word magical. I could have used it's a fun place, right? It's a huge place, but I have used the word magical. What kind of meaning do you think I'm trying to convey? Or what kind of an effect am I trying to portray here? What comes to your mind when I use the word magical instead of any other word that I could have used? Probably our parents might use the word chaotic or messy because that's how they see it. But I would say it was a magical place, right? So how do you guys see it? You see it because from the perspective of a child, it seems like a fun place. It's like a fantasy place with rides, and you see so many mascots. You see the smell of you can smell popcorn wafting through the air, right? So many magical rides. It seems like all that stress in your little brain, it goes away, right? So it's kind of like a fantasy world that engulfs you and protects you from the real world, right? So it's, yes, you could say that in a manner of speaking, a delusional world for kids, or kind of like a world where they want to forget themselves. Fantasy, magic, right? Do you guys understand what I'm telling you now? So what impact does it create in your mind? That is how we will be tackling effect questions, okay? Then impression. The overall picture or understanding the language gives you of a person, place, or a situation. Ask yourself, what do I now think about this? And which words make me think of it? So, impression questions bhi aayenge and we'll tackle them when we get to it. Suggestion as well, what the language hints and beyond its literal sense. Read in between the lines. The word fortress for a house literally means a stronghold, but it suggests coldness, distance, and being shut out, right? What is the literal meaning of a word fortress? Fortress is not like a palace, is it? Anyone who has been to Lahore, particularly, I will not be. When it comes to Karachi or Islamabad, you guys probably have not seen a lot of historical places as opposed to people in Lahore, because we literally have the very Mughal history, and its very stronghold here, which is the Lahore Fort, right? So Fortress Stadium as well, very good, not bad. And through Lahore, good job. So fortress itself, yeah, let's suppose we talk about the Lahore Fort. Guys, can anyone tell me why Lahore Fort was built? It's not a palace. What's the difference between maybe a palace or a fortress? Exactly. Very good, Mukaddas. Good job. Good. So a fortress is basically what surrounds the city. And at that time, Lahore Fort was built. It surrounded the 12 gates of Lahore, and it was built to keep out enemies. It was not a royal residence, even though it was used as a royal residence by the emperors. From Akbar to Jahangir to Shah Jahan and so on, they all left a mark on the Lahore Fort, but it was not used as a palace. It was used as a fortress. So fortress हमें पता चलता है to keep things in and to keep things out, right? Does that make sense? So similarly, if I say my house is a fortress, that means yes, it's fortified. Yes, it protects me, but it's kind of like a jail. Yeah, it's just coldness and distance and something that is basically that keeps everything not just out but in as well, right? Do we understand, Bacho? Do we understand the kind of questions that can come up? Yeah. Do we all follow? Okay. Let's move on. Now, this is an extremely important bit. This is where I want you to think like Gen Z. You're all Gen Z. And you all can think like Gen Z because you think like Gen Z on a regular basis. You are the generation that has grown up on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Snapchat. I remember some other apps as well that students got used to during COVID. I remember some of my students at that time used to use Discord. Do we still use Discord? Is it still a thing? Okay, nahin, ab it's over. Its fame has gone down. No, you don't use Discord anymore? Okay. Okay, Aisha says, I use it. Okay. So anyway, you guys, acha chalo, all of you use WhatsApp? All of you use WhatsApp? To one extent, all of you use Instagram as well? Right? We all have an understanding of Snapchat, even if you do not use it maybe. Yeah? ये तो सबसे ज़्यादा important apps हैं, or maybe you could say some of the most common ones at this point, right? So let's see. You already answer comprehension questions every day without noticing. When a friend asks why someone left the group chat, you weigh the evidence, you read between the lines, and then you form a conclusion, unless you know the explicit answer. So, we are doing explicit understanding as well, and we are tackling implicit understanding as well. Isn't that the case? Rose? Sorry, Mukaddas beta?
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, it's okay. All right. So we get the hang of this, yeah? Okay, on a daily basis, we are tackling these kind of questions or an understanding of these questions and what they stand for, right? So, paper one asks you to do the same thing, obviously, but with a printed text and in a more academic setting. So, let's take a look at the opening activity. What is the question really asking? Each everyday question below is secretly testing one reading skill. So you will have to figure this out. Decide whether it asks for a fact, an inference, a feeling, evidence, or an explanation of language. Write the skill on the line. So instead of doing this, making this into a thing, we will just simply do this verbally and move on. All right? So, what time did Ariba actually leave the group chat? What do you guys think?
Ma'am, we don't have the text over here.
No, it's not about the text. It's just about the questions.
Probably.
What do you think the questions tell you? It's
Time बताएंगे.
no. You have to tell us whether it's a fact, Inference,
Okay.
feeling, evidence, or explanation of language. Just this. It's an everyday question.
Fact, maybe.
Okay. Anyone else? Fact. Zuna says fact as well. Good enough. Good job. All right. Fact it is. Let's move on. She left right after Hamid's message. Do you think the two things are connected?
Yeah, it provides the evidence.
So what are you doing? No, I'm asking you what kind of a question do you think it is? You have to read them. No?
Evidence.
I'm reading this. Question number 2. Guys, have you all understood the activity? I think you're a little
Yes.
confused, everyone. Have you understood the activity? Boys? Muhammad? Muhammad isn't speaking a lot. Muhammad, are you there? Okay. Okay. So, what do we think question number 2 is like?
Ma'am, according to me, it's evidence.
Okay, good enough. Anyone else? She left right after Hamid's message. Do you think the two things are connected?
Yes, these are connected. That's why it's giving an evidence.
But, okay, Zuna is saying feeling. Okay, what do you guys think? Can it not be an inference? We have to figure it out, yeah? Okay, it's okay, Aisha, you'll get the hang of it, better don't worry. Acha, you say Ahmed is hiding his result. What has he actually done that makes you say that? What do we think, bachon? Vanya, I want you to also put in your thoughts as well. Evidence, inference, okay, good job, you're getting somewhere. Anyone else? Can it be a feeling?
Yes, feeling.
Good enough, good enough. When mum said, "Oh, wonderful, another surprise," about the borrowed charger, what did her words really mean?
Explanation of language.
Okay. I think Zuna is better. Inference maybe. Sarcasm. Sarcasm. ठीक है. She is being sarcastic. Oh, wonderful. Another surprise about the borrowed charger. What did her words really mean? Sarcasm is not the actual title though, right? Aisha?
Ma'am, we can say that explanation of language that can suggest that she's being sarcastic.
Very good. Not bad. Good job, Mukaddas. Good job. Or depending on the context, maybe it's inference. Maybe it's feeling. Right? Do we understand? Depending on the context? Good job, Muhammad. Okay, good enough. Now, last one. Sir looked at the unfinished homework and just said, "I see." What does that tell you about his reaction?
That could suggest a feeling or explanation of language.
Good enough, Mukaddas. Anyone else? Inference, okay. Inference again.
Ma'am, what does inference really suggest about?
Inference mean to figure out something using clues, beta. What is the text inferring? Or what can you infer actually from the text? What can you figure out from the text? By looking at clues. Make sense? Okay. So, do we understand, guys? I know these questions were a little tricky to understand because they're lacking context. But yes, you will have to figure them out, understanding context, and that is how they'll become easy for you. But that can only happen when you understand the different kinds of questions that can actually come up. If you have no idea about the different types, how can you actually figure them out? Do you know what I'm saying? Do we understand, bachcho? Yeah? Good to go? Chalo, let's move on. So, examiner advice. Recent examiner reports keep returning to the same message. Candidates lose marks not because the reading is too hard, but because they answer a slightly different question from the one printed. Careful reading of the question is a skill in itself, and it is the first one this workbook trains you on. So ये सबसे एक main चीज़ है, and I cannot stress on this enough. Go through your questions first. Then go through the passage, then go through the questions again, and then go through the passage again. That is how you'll be able to understand the questions and what are they exactly asking you in entirety. All right. So passage itself is barely and really more difficult. All right. Now, 3 habits to build. Habit 1. Read the question twice, as I just told you guys. Check the marks. Obviously, if it's a 1 marker, do not write more than a 1 point of an answer. It's usually not needed. 3 markers are generally where explanation is mainly needed. Alright? And obviously, read around the line. So, when a question points you to a particular line or paragraph, the sentences just before and after it usually shape the meaning. Basically, context. So, an answer taken from a line read in isolation is often slightly wrong. हमेशा मैं ये नहीं कह रही कि इट्स ऑलवेज रॉन्ग, बट इट कैन बी एट टाइम्स रॉन्ग. सो रीड उससे पहले वाली लाइन भी, उसके बाद वाली लाइन भी, टू गेट द ब्रॉडर पिक्चर. डू वी अंडरस्टैंड ईच अदर? या आर वी गुड? Okay, good enough. So again, do not begin answering while you're still hunting through the passage. Find the relevant lines, read them properly, then write. Answers written mid-search, they tend to copy too much and explain too little. So make sure that you are reading your answers properly and obviously going through the passage carefully as well. Now we have an understanding of our command words. Obviously, for those kids who are still struggling with command words, hopefully, inshallah, this will serve as a good activity and it will once and for all clear up all misconceptions. A command word tells you the kind of thinking a question wants. It never works alone, though its meaning depends on the full wording of the question, the number of marks, and any extra instruction attached to it. Learn the words here, then always learn to read them in context. Context wala jo point hai na, it's very important when it comes to O-levels English. Remember the kids who joined me from the very beginning? We talked about connotation versus denotation. Do you guys remember that? Connotation versus denotation. How many of you are familiar with that? जिन को थोड़ा याद होगा ये. Okay, Vania, Zuna, Aisha. Miss, I watched the recording. Okay, Aisha, that's amazing, beta. So, we kind of have the hanging of that, understanding of that. We'll go through that again, though, for the convenience of the others as well. Hasnain, are you following, beta? All good? Okay. So, let's start with the first command word yet again. Identify. It means find and name something from the text. You must give the specific detail asked for. Nothing more. I think identify and give are the easiest command words you will come across because they simply want you to write down the information as it is generally, unless you need to paraphrase it a bit. But more often than not, you can always copy paste it as well, unless the question asks you to write in your own words. अगर question की demand है कि use your own words, फिर तो ठीक है, you can use your own words. Unless that is the case, don't use your own words if the command words are as simple as give or identify. Okay? Then, you must give the specific details asked for, nothing more. How much a word or a short phrase is usually enough. 1 line maximum. Evidence. The detail itself is the evidence. A short quotation or close paragraph is suitable unless again if you feel like that is the requirement depending on context. Okay? Are we understood, bachcho? Good to go so far? Okay. Now, weak and improved version. The writer talks about the weather being bad and how this affected everyone at the harbor that morning. Improved could be the heavy fog. You will simply write down the answer that is needed. Writing any irrelevant details will not serve your purpose. Not only will you end up wasting time, but it's not going to get you any more marks, right? So tip is to identify questions reward precision. Long answers do not earn enough credit and they can also bury the correct detail, the relevant detail. Bacho, do we understand so far? Do we understand the command word identify? Every one of us, without any questions? Okay. Give. Give is again a very simple command word. It means provide a detail or reason from the text. Again, you must supply exactly the number asked for. In this case, let's suppose they can ask you to give 2 details. If it's a 2 marker, then you write 2 points, okay? That's more than enough. So how much? 1 short point per mark. Evidence, paraphrase, or brief quotation both work unless the question asks otherwise. In this case, it's a 2 marker, and if the command word explicitly tells you, only then you go beyond that. If not, generally speaking, give is a command word where only points are needed. Alright? So, for example, weak answer is give 2 reasons. He was tired. That's 1 reason, bacho. That will only get you 1 mark. Okay? He had been traveling all night and he had not eaten since the previous afternoon. Aren't those 2 points? Those are 2 points now, right? Do we understand that? So give 2 details means exactly 2 relevant details. A third is ignored and a missing second one costs a mark. So बच्चों understand कि Cambridge आपकी 2 बेस्ट नहीं निकालेगा आपकी 3 गिवन में से. Let's suppose आप ये सोचते हैं कि अच्छा चलो मैं 3 लिख देता हूँ या लिख देती हूँ, तो Cambridge जो है ना वो the examiner will try to figure out the 2 best ones and they'll give me marks. No, they will mark the 2 that will come first and they will ignore the third one, even if your third one was the best. So write those that you are most familiar with or you feel like that they are something that you know for a fact. कि ये बिल्कुल ठीक आंसर है. And the one that you are a little skeptical about, leave that for the end. All right? वैसे तो I will tell you कि only write down 2 points. That's important. Are we good so far, बच्चों? Understood? Everyone, beta, if you will not revise this after the class, I am telling you guys, it will become an issue, okay? So please keep revising because there's a high chance we might not do them again. We'll do them at the end now when we're doing revision, okay? Chalo, state. It means says plainly what the text makes clear. Very simple. You must answer directly, usually with an explicit detail. How much? A sentence or less. Again, depending on the demand of the marks allotted. Evidence not required beyond the detail itself because state is a pretty simple command word. So, for example, it could possibly be suggested that maybe the shop was closed. No, that's a vague statement. Simply write down the shop was closed. To state questions, they want confidence. If the text says it, say it. Don't be vague. Don't be ambiguous. Don't be unclear. Do we understand? Easy enough? Yeah? Chalo. Aisha ko to samajh aa gayi hai. Anyone else have any other questions to ask so far? No? Okay. Describe. It means give the relevant features or details of something. I think that pretty much is understood from the command word itself. You must cover the aspect the question names, such as a place, reaction, or a situation. How much? Match the marks. 2 marks usually needs 2 details. Evidence, details from the text in your own words when possible. हाँ, क्योंकि evidence के लिए अच्छा ये होता है कि at times, yes, you quote the text, but unless it demands that you use your own words, then do so. But ज़्यादातर evidence में ऐसा ही होता है कि you have to quote the text. Explanation is generally in your own words. Okay? So, अगर मैं सिर्फ ये लिख दूँ, the room was described in the passage, it's a bogus answer. Isn't it? I guess itna to you guys can also understand that it's a bogus answer. It tells me nothing. It tells the examiner nothing, right? It tells the reader nothing. So the improved version is the room was cramped and dim with a single window that would not open. Right? Guys, do you see it? Again, देखो, ये तो simple answers है ना. All of this would depend on the context of your passage, of your questions, so on and so forth. However, are we understanding so far? Okay. Tip is simple. Describe what is there, what is understood, what you can read. Not something that's not there. It's invisible, all right? It's non-existent. Not the fact that a description exists, okay? Then we have the command word explain. Pretty simple. It means shows that you understand a meaning, reason, or a feeling and make it clear to someone else. You must go beyond naming it. Say what it means or why it happens or happened. Again, how much? Usually a full sentence per mark. Explanation is required. Go in depth if need be. Evidence, it's often required, but check the wording. Depend on the question's demand. Alright? He was upset. It says he was upset. That's a very, very ambiguous answer. And it's a very weak answer at that. So the better improved version would be, he was upset because the letter proved that the decision had been made weeks earlier without anyone consulting him. You see the explanation why, guys? Yeah? Why is he upset? That was missing in the first part, wasn't it? Tip, an explanation answers the silent question, why? क्यों? मुझे वजह दो. वो जो very much in our brown society that they tell us not to do. When you question, they tell you not to question. But we question here. Okay, बच्चों? Inference is he's maybe fired or tired. Achha, he's been fired. That's what you're saying. From the work, from the job, yeah? Absolutely. Why not? Depends on the context, Aisha, yeah? Good job. Good job, beta. Good job. Do we understand, bachcho, everyone? Any questions at all? Okay. He was upset. Okay, ho gaya. An explanation answers the silent question why or what does that mean? If yours does not, it is a statement, not an explanation. We do not require statements only. We require an explanation. All right, that's important, beta. Okay. Chalo ji. Let's move on. Suggest. What is suggested? It means the answer is implied rather than stated. कि क्या समझ आ रहा है? What is being told to us? What do we need to figure out? बोलना क्या चाह रहे हो? Right? What are you trying to suggest? For example, in many a movie series as well, we have seen people telling the superiors telling their subordinates or their inferiors, I believe, you should take a few months off from work. I'm benching you. What does that mean? It's a polite way of saying that you are suspended. I came across this TV series where it was basically a thriller, and two detectives were working on the scene, but they got a bit emotional. Personal feelings came in between. So the superior in command, he told the person who was basically the one who got personal. He told him that I believe you should take a few months off, clear your head. You should take that vacation you have been hoping to hoping to go on. So it's a polite way of saying I am benching you or I am suspending you. It's not up for discussion and I'm not asking you. It's not an opinion. I'm telling you, but I'm just telling you in simple terms, in polite terms, right? What are you suggesting? You are suggesting that I don't get a choice. I am suspended regardless. Do we understand, bachcho? Did the example make sense? Did it or did it not? In a humble way? In a humble way के साथ, in a more polite way. जैसे हम direct नहीं ना होते. Because we know that if we are being direct with someone, it might actually hurt them. Particularly when we have a good relation with that person, right? So in the most politest manner, softest manner, we tell them, you got to take a break. Or you got to do this because I'm asking you and because I'm your superior, so I can tell you to do this. Right? Do we understand this? Are we good to go? Okay. So how much? One clear inference per mark. 1 marker, 2 marker, 3 marker, depending on that. Evidence, your inference must fit the clues. Even when the question does not ask you to quote them. It's important that we do that. So it suggests something about her personality. That's a weak answer. It suggests she is reluctant to accept help since she refuses the offer twice before anyone insists. So if you can point to, now I'm giving you proof, right? This is why she is reluctant to accept help. So it's basically this is where I'm delving deeper into the idea of this person, deeper into the lines, and not just giving a statement. Make sense? This is what it suggests about a personality because I'm delving deeper into it. I'm going beyond the surface, right? So if you can point to the exact sentence that states your answer, you have answered an explicit question, not this one. So look again. Try to read between the lines. Try to offer an explanation if needed. Okay? Then use your own words. As I keep telling you guys, if this is mentioned and you end up copy pasting, that's going to be an issue, bachcho. So it means show understanding by rephrasing the key idea. You must change the significant words of the original. Acha, how do we change the words of the original? How do we do that? Hmm? What do we do? Yes, exactly. Well done, ladies. Aisha and Zoon are absolutely right. We use synonyms, not fancy words. Cambridge is not about fancy words. If anyone tells you that, they are wrong. Hasnan, I know it can be difficult at times, but देखो, we are not supposed to force synonyms as well. जितना हो सकता है उतना चेंज करना है. Okay, बेटा? अगर नहीं चेंज होता, let it be. You can also change the structure of the sentence. Okay? You just have to paraphrase it. All right? Obviously, synonyms is the way to go. तो वो तो करना ही करना है. But I'm not telling you कि each and every word needs to be changed. All right? जी मुकद्दस, go on बेटा.
मैम जब हम एक टेक्स्ट से आंसर लिख रहे होते हैं, टेक्स्ट ए या बी से, तो इज इट नेसेसरी फॉर अस कि हम उसकी वर्डिंग प्रॉपरली पूरी चेंज करें?
मेरा बेटा, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग यू मुकद्दस, कि अच्छा इसमें ये होता है कि अनलेस द क्वेश्चन टेल्स यू या कमांड वर्ड ऐसा है जिसमें आपने लिखना ही अपने वर्ड में आंसर है, यू कैन कॉपी पेस्ट एज वेल. बट यू जस्ट मेंशन टेक्स्ट बी एज वेल मुकद्दस. टेक्स्ट बी में जो मेजर क्वेश्चन आता है ना, वो समरी का होता है. और समरी राइटिंग नीड्स टू बी रिटन इन योर ओन वर्ड्स एंटायरली. ऑलराइट, बट देन अगेन उसमें भी मैं वही बात करूंगी कि डू नॉट फोर्स सिनोनिम्स इफ दे कैन नॉट बी. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि एक लाइन है तो उसमें हर वर्ड चेंज करना है, हर वर्ड का सिनोनिम ढूंढना है, ऐसा नहीं है. ऑलराइट, इट्स मेनली अबाउट द कीवर्ड्स. ओके बच्चों, do we understand? We just have to show the examiner that we are capable of using our own words and we are proficient in the language, that we can do this without copy pasting. Does that make sense? Are we good? चलो.
मैम आई गेस रीफ्रेजिंग इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट.
हाँ, मैं वो तो कह रही हूँ, both can work. Rephrasing, using synonyms, that's how you basically write the answer in your own words. Okay? Chalo. So show understanding by rephrasing the key idea. You must change the significant words of the original. Keywords, like I said, not just shuffle its order. Shuffling order is the last thing that you do when you cannot get to a synonym. Okay? How much? As the marks require. Evidence, quotation is exactly what this question forbids. Paraphrasing is the whole task. That's the idea. Okay, bachcho? So, for example, text an insurmountable obstacle. Answer, an obstacle that was insurmountable. इसे हम कहते हैं कि सिंपल हमने सेंटेंस में थोड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर चेंज कर दिया. दिस इज वीक. द बेटर आंसर इज अ प्रॉब्लम सो लार्ज इट कुड नॉट बी ओवरकम. Did I use fancy words here, guys? Huh? What do you think? Did we use fancy words in the improved version? We simply use synonyms, right? We simply explained it by keeping the meaning intact. The meaning remains intact. All right? Good to go? Muhammad, are you there, beta? I would really want you to also take part, mera beta. All right, let's move on. So the tip is simple. Small structural words such as the, was, and names do not need changing because obviously they are part of the structure. They are not the keywords. They are either your articles or they are your helping verbs. Obviously, names cannot be changed. So the key content needs to be changed into synonyms. The keywords, all right? Then we have give details, give evidence. It means supply the specific material from the text that answers or supports. So it's quite head on and very specific that way, right? It simply tells you straight away that your answer needs to be quoted from the text because you have to give evidence. So you must choose details that genuinely match the point in the question. How much? The stated number. Evidence, this is the evidence question, short quotation or precise paraphrase, both works. If it requires an explanation, you do that as well. So, for example, this is weak. There are many details showing he was poor. What details? I need proof. Let me give you an example in this. Probably you guys have given Islamiyat ka paper already, right? Islamiyat का पेपर में भी सबने दे दिया हो या देना हो, या यू गाइज आर फेमिलियर विद इस्लामियात 2058? यस. उसमें हम रेफरेंसेस लिखते हैं कुरान के और हदीस के. क्यों लिखते हैं? व्हाई डू वी डू दैट? बिकॉज वी आर सीमेंटिंग आवर आर्ग्यूमेंट कि ये बात मैं नहीं कर रही, ये बात कुरान में भी है या हदीस में भी है, राइट? We are cementing the argument by giving that evidence, and that is why we are told by all of our teachers कि वो वाले जो particular quotations हैं, that should be exactly as they are. Those references should be exactly as they are because we are quoting them from either the Quran or from the Hadith, right? Do we understand, bachcho? He begets not, nor is he begotten. Surah Ikhlas. If we quote that, we are basically telling our examiner or our reader कि Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not is not born from someone, nor does he have an offspring, right? But by giving this quote, we are cementing our argument that this is not just my own words, right? Yes, Aisha. So I guess that was a more relatable example for you guys. Yeah, did we understand it? So are we good? Every one of you understand how we tackle this? Yeah? Okay. Chalo, moving on. Support your answer. It means first answer, then prove it from the text. You must give a clear answer followed by a relevant textual evidence. How much? Answer plus 1 or 2 pieces of evidence depending on the marks. Evidence is essential because that is the instruction of the question mainly. Mark, weak, she was generous, she walked to the market early. Evidence does not match the answer. It needs to match the answer. There needs to be cohesiveness. Coherence नहीं है. दोनों points, they are not coming together properly, right? एक इधर जा रहा है तो एक इधर जा रहा है, right? Improved. She was generous. She gave away half her earnings and never mentioned it to anyone. This is one of the major problems that I see in your narratives as well. I woke up at 7 in the morning, full stop. Everyone got done with their homework. क्या इन दो sentences का कोई sense बन रहा है side by side? No, there's no connection. This is what we call lack of cohesiveness, right? And this is exactly what this question tells you to work on. So tip is, read your evidence back against your answer. If the evidence could support a different answer just as easily, choose a better evidence. So the more precise your evidence is as related to your answer, the better it will be and the better marks you will end up getting. What does this show? It means, what can we learn or conclude from this detail? You must state the conclusion and not repeat the detail. How much? 1 developed sentence per mark. Evidence, the detail is already given. Your job is the conclusion. So, it shows that he checked the door 3 times. Very weak, very bogus. It shows he does not feel safe even inside his own home. So, if your answer repeats the quoted words, you have shown nothing. Push 1 step further. Delve deeper. Explain a bit if need be. What do you think the quotation or what do you think the text implies? Does that make sense as in terms of the conclusion? Bacho, are we following? I hope it's not too much in today's lesson. Good to go? I truly hope you guys will go through this after the lesson because unless you do that, it can become an issue. What impression is created? Very important now. What picture, feeling or understanding does the language give the reader? This is basically, you guessed it right, question 2. You must name the impression and tie it to the wording that creates it. How much impression plus explanation is generally important? Evidence, yes. The wording creating the impression that's needed. तो हम word level quotes दे सकते हैं. For example, it creates a strong impression of the city. How? How? What is creating the strong impression of the city? Quote the exact words maybe, or the sentence or the phrase. The city seems hostile and exhausting. The streets swallow the crowds. Word level analysis. Literally take it all apart. Just you'll take your car apart maybe. when you open the hood होता है ना जो आगे वाला होता है basically. I'm so bad at that. Where you see the engine and everything. So you have so many different parts over there. You take it all apart, and if you assemble, you get a car, right? So it's kind of like that. You can't get the effect unless you take apart all the points or all the parts of the sentence that makes up the effect. I hope I make sense, guys. Are we good to go? Swallow the crowds as if the place consumes the people. Why did the writer use the word swallow? The writer could have used the word hustle and bustle, chaos, uh, crowds of people, right? Or the city seems hostile and exhausted, the streets swallow. You could also say the streets look foreboding. But foreboding will not give the same meaning as swallow because the writer is trying to create an impact using the word swallow, right? Just they are consuming the people, taking the people in, right? Do we understand, guys? Are we good, bachcho? Chalo. What effect does the writer create? You could say that in a manner of speaking depending on context, Aisha. Alright? But this was just to show you that word level analysis is important when it comes to the impression questions. And this is exactly why you guys get stuck in writer's effect or use of language. Alright? Use of language or question 2, this is basically built around this idea. Effect. It means what the language does to meaning and to the reader. You must explain the meaning and its impact, not simply name a technique. Let's suppose, ठीक है, in your own mind you are able to identify a simile or a metaphor, anything. It doesn't mean anything, बच्चों, because at the end of the day, if you're not explaining it, कि उसका effect क्या है, you're not getting marks. So we are not going to give you marks for feature spotting only. Do not just feature spot, कि हाँ, wow, I know that there's a metaphor, wow, I should get 3 out of 3. No. You need to also tell us how that metaphor is working and coming together. Do we understand? So, the writer uses a metaphor which is effective. No. Part of the credit only. Calling the silence a wall makes it feel solid and deliberate, as though the two friends are physically separated and neither can reach the other. We have explained the effect of the feature we have identified. This will make more sense in context. Are we good? Yeah? Okay. So naming the technique nothing on its own. The mark lives in what the technique makes the reader feel, see or understand. And this is where we stop. We will inshallah continue from page number 8 tomorrow.